Welcome to the Bombadcast.
Oh, here it is. Oh,
Woo,
here it is.
buddy.
Here we go.
Woo,
Oh,
buddy.
The people on screen. I'm so excited.
Buddy.
The tension that I'm gonna have for these two people are very real.
God.
What?
You,
Hey,
you
Jerry.
almost said tits too, didn't you? You almost
I
said tits.
did. I was
feel
looking
like
at
you,
Joe.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was
There's
looking
going to
at
be a
Joe.
lot of tits on tonight's show. That's for
Hey,
sure.
real quick, let me change. Our names are opposite, which I think is hilarious. Let me fix that. Scotty
What the hell? Hold on. What the hell happened?
Hold on. Hold on.
Oh, what's up,
Fixing
everybody?
yours.
What's up, Bombad fam? Yes.
Jerry, let's show up our robes real quick. I want to show up our robes again. Everyone look at these robes.
Okay. All right.
Oh,
Hold on,
I
hold on,
love
here,
the
let
way
me-
these look.
Okay. Look at this.
Oh, wow. The only show, the only live
And
show
make-
that gets dressed for the occasion.
I'm going to make the, makes sounds like somebody's drunk uncle getting off the couch at Thanksgiving.
Right. That's right. I got the Padawan braid in, just like everyone's drunk uncle. And you know, we're going to bring in our favorite summer host right now, hosting all these episodes with us about the Acolyte. Probably one of the most
He's so
beautiful people
spicy.
we've ever had the privilege to work with and continue to work with and will continue to work with. And of course, real quick, you gotta make sure I get paid tomorrow. I'm gonna buy some of this person's merch. The one, the only.
Oh, yeah.
I hate Joe Organa. Oh,
What a sexy loser. Look at him.
Expecting this.
Jess,
Hi, guys.
Jess.
Hi.
Jess.
How are you? Thank you for having me all summer long.
He's like the one night stand.
Emphasis
that'll
on
never
long.
leave.
Yeah.
Jerry,
I'm your summer
surprise
fling.
face.
Make a what?
Do a surprise. Jerry, you make us. Let's all make surprise faces, Jerry. And look at Joe.
Oh no.
Joe, how you feeling, baby?
I'm feeling so good, you guys. I'm feeling excited. Feeling
Yeah.
ready to be here. I'm feeling ready to talk about Darth Ventures and everything that happened this week.
I love it.
Hey,
I'm excited.
Listen, there's no better way. This is the guys, this is the summer solstice, apparently,
right.
today. So we're going to see the summer solstice out, talking about episode 4 of the Acolyte. So that's kind of interesting. Interesting. Very witchy show. We're going to be talking about it on a very witchy night. It's just it's
Yes. Oh, this is fantastic. And joining us too, by the way, one of my favorite DMs of all time, district managers, that is. And no, one of my favorite people ever.
good at DMs as well, right? Yeah.
Good friend of the show. And know what's really crazy? I want to say a few things about this, and I'm going to hype this person up. So for those that don't know, this is 5 years ago. This is the 5 years of Bombadcast. This is not the official anniversary show, but what makes this so special that Michael's coming on tonight is because Michael is, I'm not joking. I'm sorry, everyone else. Sorry, family. Sorry, everyone watching. Michael is the first Bombadcast fan of all time. Truly organic, actual Bombadcast fan. We're going to bring him in and we're going to hear him talk about that just for a second. But the one and only host of Ionized Bastards, one of my favorite people in the world, Michael McCoy. Michael, how are you feeling, baby?
Mr.
I'm
McCoy.
feeling great. I'm so excited to be here with you guys, with Joe. You know what? Just to be more like Joe, I'm going to unbutton my shirt just a little bit. There,
There it is.
Hey, WWJD, am I right? What
You're
would
welcome,
Joe
Chad.
do?
Everyone,
Okay.
shock faces, and Michael.
Okay.
Perfect. Okay.
But
Michael, so happy to have you here.
I'm so happy to be here. Congrats on your 5-year anniversary. And as a matter of fact, Scotty, I'm glad that you brought up me being the first Bombad fan,
Ever.
whatever we want to call it.
Ever.
I found the screenshot of the dawn of our friendship.
No way.
June 18th, 2019. What I first tweeted at you guys as I listened to your first episode at Bombadcast. Great first episode, guys. Loved it. Really funny. Great chemistry between you two. And an absolute love for Star Wars. Keep up the good work. And I'm looking forward to listening to more at Junkie Cannon at the Scott J. Rowe.
Okay,
I remember this.
Let's talk about what that has led to real quick.
Mhm.
That one comment has led to a lifelong friendship in which this man, Michael McCoy, came down to Louisiana for my wedding. We met up in California, hung out the entire time in California together. And of course, 3 weeks ago came to my house and spent the night at my house for 3 nights or 2 nights. Like that is what this is about. And this is very ironic because recently we've seen the Star Wars community this past week go through all kinds of bullshit, nonsense, shenanigans. And it really is so much more about connection. And I can't thank you enough for being our friend for that long and listening to that first episode organically, mind you. For those that don't know, Michael, how did you even find us? Wasn't it like a suggestion?
We had to be so like obscure, like absolutely obscure.
So if I recall, it was someone I was following had retweeted you guys' first episode.
Wow.
And at the time, I was still doing All Remaining Systems as a podcast. And so I was like, you know what? One small podcast to another. I'll give them a listen, see what they're all about. You know, show them a little bit of support. And 5 years later, here we are. I talk about this with you all the time, Scotty. Never in a million years did I think that would lead to a friendship like the one we have now. Like, it's truly incredible.
It's amazing. I'm very lucky. And obviously Jerry too. I mean, y'all
I'm just
spent a lot of time
just
together during my wedding and stuff. It's just, I don't know. It's beautiful that this fandom can do that. Because I can tell you this much, I wouldn't have met Joe if it wasn't for Star Wars Twitter either. And like 3 or 4 years ago, I was harassing him every day. So here we are now.
I was gonna say I wouldn't have met Joe if Scotty hadn't been harassing him.
That's true.
So what goes around comes around.
And
now
I wasn't at your wedding, but I was at the bachelor party.
What you were taking out from all angles.
What a night that was.
I jumped out that cake and we just had a connection.
Yeah. No, it was beautiful. But in all seriousness, if we can address something that's actually been very topical recently, is this fandom thing. And you know, I don't know how else to say it, but people are terrible sometimes, and other people are really great. This show, Ken Knapsack said it best. I was listening to Forstner earlier. He said, and I had to quote it. I actually put it on my Twitter. He said this exactly. For me, Star Wars is not on trial every week. And I don't think the future of it hinges on 30 minutes with a franchise coming up on 50 years. That's the truth. Everyone getting so fucking up in arms about this has been so embarrassing. And like even fandom menace or people that are positive thinkers of Star Wars, like, why are we getting so mad about a TV show? Like, it's so strange. I don't know how y'all feel about it. And I know it gets much deeper than that. But like, I just hate how we knew this show was going to be a target for people of color and people of different, I guess, LGBTQ people that obviously have different than the regular norm of beliefs in terms of some people's eyes. Like, I didn't think this show would be as hawked on and attacked.
Honest, I think this is kind of like it's all kind of coming to a head because let's be honest, this isn't the first time people have gotten death threats on Star Wars Twitter, unfortunately. No. Nope. It's a thing that has been happening since the internet has been around, and especially since, like, honestly, the fervor for this feels a little bit like back at when TLJ first came out.
Yep.
You know how there was like a hot fervor then. It feels like that has been kind of not fully to that extent, but it feels like it is kind of back to almost that level. Yep. And it's, again, like I said, it's nothing new. It's just another day on the internet. But at the same time, the people who got and who received those death threats and rape threats and things like that did not deserve that. Should not get that. You should.
No one.
Why?
No.
No one deserves. No one deserves that. Why the fuck are you saying something like I just don't. I can't comprehend how people think that is okay to do.
It's because like we've discussed before, it's never about what Ki-Adi-Mundi's date of birth is. That's never what the actual thing these people are mad about is. That's the justification they give for doing the shitty things they wanted to do anyway. That's really all it is. You know, these people are already terrible humans, and anyone who sticks up for them, you can go fuck yourself and get out of our fandom.
Yeah, no, we don't want you here. Yeah, if you're listening to Bombad, watching Bombad, whatever, yeah, no, we don't want you around if you are going to be doing that kind of shit. So
no, I agree. And I know, Joe, you've been actually you've been harassed before, like actually been harassed. I know that for a fact. Because you said something against Gina Carano. And like, that was all. I think, honestly, Jerry, you said it was TLJ. I also think it's the Gina Carano thing. It's like, it's like
Gina Carina definitely was something.
Gina Carina.
Absolutely.
It's just, what was that like for you to go through literal death threats and shit?
Yeah.
Because you got that.
I did, yeah. No, it was the whole Gianna Kalana thing. Oh man, what a throwback!
Gina colonoscopy.
That whole thing, like even back then, I think I was a little bit more active on that side of Star Wars Twitter, where I was a little bit more like, oh, I'm ready to like fight for my morals in Star Wars, which I think I pulled back on trying to like engage in that sort of hostile back and forth. But back then I was ready and raring for a fight. And so when Gina Carano, because she, had said some stuff and I was like, maybe she is learning her lesson, because there was that whole story about how Pedro Pascal talked to her and she like admitted like, oh yeah, I was being a little bit ignorant. I talked to Pedro and he helped me. And then so I was one of the people willing to be like, okay, she apologized in her sort of way, in a little way, yes, and like maybe she'll get better, whatever. It is what it is. And then she like doubled down like a couple days later, which not only made all of the people like me who were like willing to give her like that second chance made us look stupid, but like also your co-star Pedro Pascal, who is the front runner of the show. Also, all the people who are like sticking up for you at Lucasfilm and like willing to keep you on the show, you're making all of these people look stupid. And more importantly, you're making the trans and queer people, not people, but fans of Star Wars look and feel terrible, because Star Wars is a place for a lot of us queer people who are fans of Star Wars go to feel included and feel accepted, because it is a universe that everyone looked different. Everyone was different. They came from different planets. They were different species. And it wasn't a thing. Like homophobia wasn't a thing. You know what I mean? So a lot of people did go to Star Wars for that sort of comfort. And so for her to attract or attack trans people and non-binary people and queer people in general, fans of the show, is really horrific, because she was sort of a mouthpiece for the show. She was representing Star Wars because
she could have been a paragon for strong women in that franchise, and threw that away to be shitty. Like,
and I have nothing against her character, because her character was a strong woman in Star Wars, and we need more of those. And for her to like take that opportunity and throw that in the trash by being transphobic and awful was terrible. So that's why, and I was upset, and that's why I started that thread that went viral and ultimately helped start the whole sort of I don't want to say the wrong word, but it helped end to her demise in Star Wars.
Well, it aided
she got the can.
Exactly.
Right.
It aided in something that needed to be done, because we cannot tolerate that. And you know what else? We can't tolerate that not just among the people that make Star Wars, but the actual people that contribute to the conversation of Star Wars. And we're looking at people like Star Wars Theory. We're looking at people that harass others on social media. Like, if you come into this fandom looking to spread negativity, looking to grift, looking to make money off the negative clicks and the algorithm that does play into it, then you're not really a part of a fandom of acceptance, of love. You don't really represent Star Wars in a way that the things around us represent. Like, we've got someone like
it's fundamentally the opposite of what Star Wars is what all these people are doing. And so to them like adamantly claim that they're trying to reclaim the franchise proves all the more that they never understood it to begin with.
Well, look, Star Wars is not democratic. It's not Republican. It's not libertarian. It's not a social construct that we tend to put on it. It has everything to do. I mean, let's be so real right now. Okay, if Star Wars was democratic, then why would there be guns and blasters and killing and everything that some of that people of that party stand for? You know what I mean? Anti-gun, anti-everything. Whereas you've got things like very intense debates. You've got things in terms of lesbian witch covens. Like, none of this should be seen as a political attack on you. It's storytelling. It's mythology. This is what it's all about. It's about where our human connection comes from. It has nothing to do with the age of Ki-Adi-Mundi. You know what I mean? Who gives a fuck? Like, really, who cares? If you really cared that much about Ki-Adi-Mundi, you wouldn't have memed him to hell and back in 2014. I mean, let's be real. The only reason, the worst part is, to some people, the prequels are even relevant is because it was memed to hell and back from 2013 to 2016. That's the reason why people like the prequels now. I saw whenever, okay, Oh, I'm getting mad. When I saw the Phantom Menace, people were clapping at This Is Pod Racing. Where I was like, okay, I get it. That's funny now. But like, that wasn't funny in 2014. That was hated. I don't know. It's all gonna come back around. We should talk about the show. I'm getting mad.
No,
Sorry.
but it all needed to be addressed just at the top of the show. We obviously, we stand with Wikipedia. We stand against all that shit.
Yes.
Shit. Fuck
Hopefully
all
they'll
those
show up in the
people.
chat here maybe later. Yeah, fuck all of them.
Will.
But yeah, let's talk about something that's great, like the Acolyte.
Yay!
Okay, here we go. So, okay, hold on. I haven't asked Michael this. We've asked Joe. We know Jerry and I's answer. Michael, you and I have talked privately. Where's this show going for you? How is this ranking for you? I know your answer too.
As I've talked about many times on Twitter already, this is already my favorite Star Wars show. It was always going to be. It is so much of what I love about Star Wars. Because first of all, it's High Republic, which is one of my new favorite Star Wars things ever. It's my probably favorite addition to canon. I love stories about Force users and dark side Force users specifically. I love the sort of mystery aspects that's very, Attack of the Clones, almost noir-esque.
Yeah.
Everything about this show feels like it's a Star Wars show made for me. And so it's sort of inevitable that I end up loving it. It also came at a very good time because a few weeks ago I had a really bad breakup. And so it came at just like the perfect time to get me back in a good headspace, to make me fall in love with Star Wars all over again. And I truly just adore it.
Oh, I love that. I think all of us can say the same exact thing now. It's getting better for me. First episodes were great, but these last two I've been like, what in the world? Like even Katie, who like didn't like Ahsoka that much, who hated Andor. She fucking hated Andor. And who barely liked Mando season 3. She has been super excited to watch these on Tuesday nights, which means the world to me because we've been talking about it and watching it together. But that's awesome, Michael. Yeah, no, this most recent one was something else. I mean, really, this one felt more, I don't know how you feel. This felt like you're teeing up to something really big, right? And it was good. Dialogue was great. Action scenes were great. But this was like, oh my God, this is like winding up. And I mean, we can obviously address the whole thing and we can go through order. But I guess we should address our complaints at the top. Michael, can I say one complaint?
No.
I want to say one. I want to say one. Michael, please, Michael, please. Not enough Kelnaka. That's it. My only complaint. We got the opening scene with Kelnaka. We got to see Kelnaka's mindset in exile. Been away for a year. We got a number on that. But man, making some meat and I don't know, vegetables.
Making some meat. Oh yeah, boy.
Bucky was sauteing some salad or something for a second.
Nice.
Nice tossed salad.
Do you think? And I agree, Eli. We're gonna definitely get more Kelnaka, but I was like, oh my God, Kelnaka's here.
Here we go. It's folks. It's Kelnaka time. Here we go.
Were any of y'all also disappointed in that? I was just hoping we'd get
I was just expecting more. Of him. That's the only thing. I wasn't necessarily disappointed. In fact, I thought, and again, this is why this is up there with TLJ for me. Is it takes some big fucking swings.
That's
it takes
right,
some
dude.
huge swings.
I
love that.
I really didn't know what to expect from Kelnaka. I didn't think we were going to get a big Kelnaka fight this episode, but I also, wasn't expecting him to get taken out the way he did. And I'm very much expecting to see him go to town in flashbacks. So I'm not too worried about it. I'm not like, oh, this is a wasted character or anything like that. No. And I think there's so much more. Yeah, for sure. But there's so much more to learn about him, about why he's in isolation and what was his part in what went down on the planet. So on Brendok, I couldn't think of the name. That I think that there's so much more to do with him that we're going to get. So I'm not worried about it.
Good. What about you, Joe? Do you want to see some more Daddy Wookie?
I was really expecting more. I was so sad when we got the reveal that he was already freshly dead, still steaming.
Yes, steaming.
Steaming. I think. Oh, I don't want to get off topic. But yes, I was really hoping to see more of Kelnaka. I feel like the order in which these Jedi have been killed so far is interesting. I don't know, Master Indira then her Padawan, now Kalnaka. Is that like in order of how bad they were? I don't know, maybe like how culpable they were. And May didn't even kill Kalnaka. I don't know. It's a whole thing. I have a lot of theories.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone else super intrigued by Kelnaka having the symbol of the witches?
Yes,
painted on the wall?
Yes.
That is making me
so-
wonder.
So cool.
That's
And they
making me
get a
wonder
yank.
if he has like an obsession with what they were practicing, if he's maybe even studying it to an extent, or if it's
I
like
wondered that.
the events of what happened are so like ingrained in his head and his self-imposed isolation that he's like carving it onto the walls, just like because he needs to get it out somehow, you know?
Yeah.
I'm thinking, like, what if he saw something? Like, what if while we saw May and Osha fighting, below the main chamber or whatever, what if those Jedi came in and they saw something real dark-sided or something really that blew their minds in the Force, and that's what he's obsessing over, and he needed, there's so many. I have chills thinking about it.
Well, I do too, and I was going to say that this show, and it was marketed this way. We all know that it's going to unfold, very beautifully, and like this is. I mean, it's been so much fun watching this. Whereas Mando has kind of a stagnant, like okay, adventure. Oh, we got a tad bit of a cliffhanger. This has been like
This is what this episode's journey is. Like it's very episodic.
Yes. This, however, is like super serialized. Like, oh, then it ends, and you're like, damn, it's pretty awesome. But really though, there's some really cool things to dissect there with Kalnaka, like going into isolation, knowing Osha as a little kid, and we don't really know what happens. Obviously, the one thing we don't see, if I don't know if y'all can even recall this, but I noticed this whenever we watch the end of the third episode, that Kalnaka's not even on the ship with them. Kalnaka, to our knowledge, he might be piloting the ship, but in that room, it's Sol, Indara, and Torben. Kalnaka might have, I couldn't tell you. I don't know. Kalnaka might have rolled the hell out.
Another interesting thing about Kalnaka, which may be indicative of the role he had to play and what happened on Brendok, Torben took the Barash vow.
Yes.
Kalnaka did not, but still chose a self-imposed isolation because he's stationed out there on Kofar. They say that, but he hasn't contacted anyone in a year.
Oh,
and wouldn't respond to anything. So,
and the village people even told him he just walked off into the forest. Haven't seen him since.
Yeah,
and that is crazy. God, that's crazy. Yeah, it's really cool to see a Wookiee Jedi, of course, and. I know there was that quote going around from George, like there'll never be a Jedi Wookiee, and
which he broke himself.
Yes, with Gunji. So, like, I don't know. I really do think it's cool that we got more of mystery to just that character. But importantly, and let's take a step back. I like that we also got, leading into the next part of this, some Osha motivation, because Otis's motivation, according to her at the Jedi Temple, was, well, we know that she's there, and we know that it's not me, so I guess it should be going now. And Jekki's like, I don't know about that. It's much deeper than just that.
So that is something I actually did want to talk about with this episode. Is I think it's so interesting because it also really is like an inverse parallel to what May's motivation is right now, and the sort of shift that happens later in this episode.
Yeah,
because with Osha, she even has that conversation with Yord where she's like, if she doesn't listen to me, will you kill her, more or less? I think Osha, the quote unquote good one, if we're using simplistic terms, is eager to just rid the galaxy of her sister. To her sister has been dead since Brendok, and is very quick to want to just rid herself of that. And May, on the other hand, upon finding out Osha is alive, is like, hey, I don't need the dark side. I can reconnect with my sister, and I can reforge that bond, and we can go together. And she has that line where she's talking with Kymir, where she says, I can't believe Osha's Jedi scum, but you can tell from Amanda's acting, she doesn't mean a word of that.
Not at all. Not at all.
And so it's just very interesting that the evil character is the one who's like, oh, I can just stop being bad. And Osha's like, maybe she just needs to die. You know?
Yeah, no, I agree. And I want to say this too, which is really interesting, is whenever we see that interaction between Jackie and Osha, it's very much like it feels very like I know they didn't know each other before, obviously. I think Jackie's a lot younger than Osha. Am I mistaken on that?
I don't think the age gap is that significant.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell, of course.
It's hard to tell, yeah.
Did Jackie train with Osha? I don't think she did.
No. Because Jackie is Soul's Padawan after Osha. He
left.
If
If
Osha is Rail Avaros, then you know Jackie is Qui-Gon.
Yes. But what I was going to get at is the difference between Osha and Jackie is very interesting. We know that Osha left the order, whereas Jackie as an apprentice is very
sheltered.
Very sheltered and stoic, but also not very, I wouldn't say dogmatic, very spiritual in a way, but disciplined is what I wanted to see. I could think of the word disciplined. Like watching her with the saber. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. That was one of those little moments seeing her, you know, spin the wooden saber and like do that whole entire thing felt very, you know, taekwondo, very judo, very meditative, right? But the reason why I'm saying that is because that's a reflection of her character deeply. She doesn't need to get criticized about her stances and her skills by that redheaded Jedi master. She is very much, she's in the middle. She's the center of the shot. Like she's got this very serious look. I don't know. I love that character. And everyone's jumping on Yord, but Jackie's
like attachment to Jedi dogma is also really interesting because you have the moment in the episode after, you know, Saul kills the big bug that she says, you know, it's always an honor to see something transform into the Force. And that sort of echoing of that idea of the Jedi code of there is no death, there is the Force and all that, you know?
Yeah. Which I love. I think it's really cool.
Oh, I adore it.
But it's funny, like, whenever we look at Jackie, you know, and her and Soul's relationship, even from the first episode, it automatically feels different than how Osha and Soul met, where Osha seemed more like I want to be your daughter. You know what I mean? Like I you know, I want to trust you. Take me away from this witch coven. Whereas Jackie is, you know,
a lot of that probably has to do with her age when she came into the order. You know, Jackie's more of a standard Jedi who probably came in at a significantly younger age.
God, it's so cool. It's so cool.
And I think, you know, we've seen glimpses of that sort of like the worldliness of Osha having gone out and seen more of the galaxy, you know, when she in that first or second episode, whichever it is, when she tells Jackie how to fix or reroute power on the ship or whatever it is, you know, just that alternative solution that, you know, a traditional Jedi may not have come up with initially just through orthodox methods.
Oh, it's good. Oh, it's good. I love you, Michael. Yeah, no, I do think it's interesting though that we do have a dual story again, and the episode is obviously called Day. But you get Chimere and May arriving on, what was the name of the planet again?
Kofar.
Kofar. And then what I did, this is a Star Wars math thing that I struggle with, but like May and Chimere have been there for like a while. They're like since the beginning of the episode, and it isn't until they realize where Kalnaka's at that the Jedi head over there, and like they're there at the same exact time, and they meet up at the same exact time, or like even May's like just 10 minutes early. I don't know.
I think a big part of what it is, you know, given the forested nature of that region, there's probably not many places to land. And you don't want to land in the, you know, near the Republic outpost, because then they're going to know you're there.
Yeah.
So you got to land way further out, and you have Chimere as the guide, which Chimere's motivations are still very up in the air.
I want to get it.
And if you ask me, he's very much testing Osha in a lot of ways because, you know, I think he's Steve, but I think he is very much testing her patience and her resolve. And even just like pushing her buttons in a lot of ways. Like when he's like, you know, Osha seemed really close to that Jedi. What was his name?
Right.
Like he's very intentional with all of that.
Yeah.
So I think it's a matter of, you know, also, you know, like Osha said, she needs to, or what May said. She needs to rest before she goes to fight a fucking Wookiee Jedi.
Mhm.
That's true. And
He's
that's
making it
very
also
true.
an endurance test, you know?
Uh-huh. God, that's a good point. So do we think that Chimere is like a red herring, or is Chimere the Sith apprentice, or
Right.
what are we thinking, Joe?
It could really go either way. I mean, it's so convenient that we don't see him, and then all of a sudden Kelnok is dead. And he says so many things that are so questionable and seem so leading to May. Like when they're on that walk, and he talks about like, oh, you know, she seemed really close to Saul, which that was such an interesting conversation because you see when May hears that Osha is really close to Saul, you can see immediately that May's like, oh, I feel guilty. I don't want to kill him because
I
don't
think
wanna
that's the
cause
moment
Osha
she
pain.
decides.
Yes, I think so
Alright.
too. And she
And
immediately is like, I don't want to cause Osha more pain by killing Soul. All right, I'm done with this.
and not to interrupt you, Joe, but it's been my theory since the start of this show. Saul is not the fourth. Every character has assumed that Saul is the fourth target. I do not think he is.
I've also been thinking
Okay.
that, but she did go for him when they met on the planet.
That's true, but that's because he, you know,
I don't know.
confronted
she did
her.
the same. She did the same like whole.
But she
I'm not
didn't
going to attack
say-
you with a weapon thing.
She didn't say attack me with all your strength or any of that.
I don't
Or there
remember.
wasn't like an anger there like there was, you know, with Indara or with Torben.
Interesting.
This right here, this is what I've been seeing. I heard this from Alden too. Alden mentions one of our group chats. Palpatine acting like a caring senator, Yoda acting like an eccentric
What
father.
What I compared it to, and I hate that I compared it to this, but it is the most apt comparison. It is similar to the Darth Jar Jar theory.
Oh
Because
God, yes.
The Darth
bumbling
Jar Jar
idiot.
theory is rooted in the idea of, you know, the idea of like the drunken master style of fighting, that you act like a bumbling idiot, but really you're like subtly manipulating people and everyone underestimates you. I think that's what he did on Torben's planet, and that's why, you know, he was able to escape Jedi custody and all that.
See, I like that comparison, and think I don't like that fan theory again of
I
the
don't
whole
either.
like
I
Jar Jar
can't
thing.
stand it.
No, I know you don't, but I want to put my stamp down firmly on. I see that influence in this, and it's a great way to describe it. And I love this if that's what it is, honestly.
Yes, and
because I'm loving Chimere's just the weirdness that's there.
His intentions are so weird because he seems to be pushing her, and even if he isn't, like I said, Darth Ventures, he has more invested in this than he's leading on, because he's pushing her, he's intentionally leading her, he's doing so much more than like this guy who used to be a spice runner or whatever would be doing. And when she asks him like, what are you getting out of this, he says he owes him, which I think made me think he wasn't Darth Toothy.
My secondary Chimere theory, which I don't think is true, is that it is almost like a Plagueis Venomous situation where Teeth is training the both of them, and whichever one, you know, works out best.
It could definitely be that.
Well, because Venomous, if y'all, for anyone that has not read Plagueis, which is an amazing book, I really, even if it's not canon still, it's my favorite Star Wars book. I know it is for you too, Michael, isn't it? Or it's like
it's definitely my favorite Legends book. I think Light of the Jedi might be technically slightly above it.
Okay,
but it's
Plagueis,
regardless.
In Plagueis, he has a master named Tenebris, and of course, Tenebris dies at the very beginning of the whole book. At Plagueis' hand, he crushes him, and it's all about midichlorians and like feeling the midichlorians leave his body and what the midichlorians do. But even weirder, on the planet where he has this laboratory, Tenebris comes in. Venomous. Right?
Well, he thinks it's Tenebris at first because they're the same species.
Yes,
but it's actually a secondary apprentice that was trained by Tenebris named Venomous.
Yes, which I don't know. This show could, in some really weird way, adapt that same exact principle and idea that this Acolyte is training Chimere and May. And we could also be wrong there. I love that this show's going to make us be wrong. That's what I like about these things.
I think one other important thing I like to keep in mind with all this is we as Star Wars fans way overthink things. Like even going back to the Mando days when it's like, what is Moff Gideon's plan? He just wants Force sensitive clones of himself.
Yeah.
That's it. Like Occam's razor is usually the simplest explanation is the correct explanation.
Yeah,
I think that's most likely why Chimera is teeth. I think that the idea of it could be a complete red hair. I'm like, I think it's just not that subtle. Like,
I don't know. I don't know if it's.
I'm willing to be wrong on this, but I think it's just
Veneers Vader is very slender and
Veneers
feminine to me. When we see them move, it gives female. It's giving lady girl. It's giving mama. It's giving mother. She's serving cunts.
Could it be Mother Anastasia? Do you think it'd be Mother Anastasia? Do you think it'd be
know.
I don't think it's Anastasia. I think it's the other one.
I think it would be the other one if anything. Mother Anastasia's hair wouldn't fit in that. She had all those long threads.
But how like Sabine Wren would that be if to cut her hair and like
she's burned and she just has no hair.
Oh shit!
It's giving Vader.
That's true.
I don't know. I don't know.
There's something to be said about the duality of the show too. I know we've been addressing this the entire past 2 weeks we've covered this show, but like night and day, like I'm obviously I think we're all anticipating that next episode to be called Night because it obviously the sun's going down, you're going into a deep forest. It's very mythological. The whole thing
and the darkness.
Mythological.
Did you see when the sun went down?
So intense.
Did you see what happened?
Yeah.
The moment she saw Kalnaka's body, that's when the sun went away.
Yeah,
and it didn't. It's not like it's a little dark now. No, it's like dead of night.
That's when Josh.
Well, it's a
dark.
forest. God, I don't know if how many of y'all have been in a dark forest. I've been in a dark forest and at sunset, and it goes from being just like that show, sun's still kind of coming through. When that sun sets, it's pitch black. You don't see stars. You don't see the street. You don't see nothing. And like
it's
I
gone
love,
in a fart beat.
In a fart beat, dude. Good one. No. Stupid. But there's something to be said too about like that is some incredible storytelling. These two people of two different groups, right? Different motivations, one to kill Kanaka, one to find Kanaka and hopefully find May. Both arrive at the same exact time. I don't want to get to the ending of it, but just knowing like traveling into the dark, the idea of like who can you trust? The little Basil dude. Everyone was so hyped about Basil. Thought Basil was okay. I like when he screamed. I like when he screamed.
I like
cool.
I like the screaming gopher. I like the screaming gopher.
I like that.
I like his
little
hands. Yeah, his little raccoon hands.
In terms of like funny, haha, Star Wars weirdo, he's like mid tier. He's fine.
Yeah, he's mid-tier.
He's a great weirdo.
Yeah.
I think Yord is above him still in terms of mid tier.
Yord is. Did you see how disgusted Yord looked at OSHA when they got off the ship?
Civilian.
Yeah, and he like looked at her like, "Give me your gun, idiot." Like, what was that about?
Okay, first of all, can we go back to when she said, "I'm not going to wear one of those civilian robes"?
Yeah.
And like,
and then,
what the hell is up with that?
That was funny. That was good.
They've got like a fucking like safety vest.
That was so Star Wars. That gag.
Yeah. One thing we didn't mention yet, and I think it's important to bring up because everyone's talking about the character of Ki-Adi-Mundi. It's that meeting, okay? And the meaning, of course, of these Jedi was not by the High Council, because the High Council didn't want to bring it to the attention of the Senate.
Right.
Now, this is something that I think is important to say, because this, to me, is the epitome of the prequels, is that every problem that the High Council has is automatically brought to the Senate. And they were worried about that. And Ki-Adi-Mundi was the one to suggest, what? This is where Jared is right. We should bring it to the attention of the Senate because he doesn't want this to get out of hand.
No, he says the council.
The council. I'm sorry, the council. Which then would in turn. Yeah, because of the Senate. So like we go from everyone's being like Ki-Adi-Mundi's age, and then if you go a little bit deeper, it's Ki-Adi-Mundi's character, which ultimately has not changed. He is still kind of there to follow the rules. And has kind of a not pragmatic. He's got a interesting way of thinking about how to handle a situation. You know what I mean? I wouldn't know how else to say it with Ki-Adi-Mundi, but like it was to the character. the character is still fundamentally the same. You know,
Mhm.
I don't know if anyone has any commentary on that, but like everyone was so upset about that like 2 days after the episode aired. It
Oh my
wasn't the
God.
hot button at the first day; it was the second day. Everyone's like, "Whoa, okay." Hold
Well,
on.
I don't know about y'all. I didn't even clock it as Kiadi Mundi until I was talking about it.
I
with
didn't
Alden.
either. I didn't. either.
I was just like, oh, it's another Syrian. Cool.
Yeah, until
A
someone,
dumbass.
until Eli, little Eli in the chat here, said, "Oh, look in the credits for who it is and stuff like that."
Oddly
That's how
enough, I did think it was Kiari Mundi, which I feel like I'm like
Nice.
the
It
last
was the same
person to think
hairstyle.
that. I was like, oh, it's that guy from the prequels. He looks a little younger. His hair's a little bit fuller. I don't know, it's a
Mhm.
little bit less
Mhm.
white. He looks a
Yeah.
little bit girthier in the brain region. I was into it.
Which brain?
The second one, obviously.
Nice,
The one
dude.
that matters.
No, did anyone else get as whiplash as some people did over this?
No, I didn't think twice about it. I was like, oh,
Okay, good.
like,
Cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't get the people who like freak out about these things. I'm like, I'm just sitting here enjoying it. I'm like, oh, he's there. What's he doing?
It's almost
I
like
don't know.
there's no reason to freak out about these
No,
things.
there isn't. It's been 100 years. I don't know. It's like anything could happen between then and now, and it's I don't know. People are weird.
I agree. You know what's funny? I like this. It was this coming right here, Woodsy. But a trading card from 2002, where'd he go? Was born. Said he was born later. Like, okay, let's look at that for a second. A trading card from 1998 also says that Owen Lars is Obi-Wan's brother. Like, and it
Yeah.
confident. I have the card. It confidently says that. So, like, it's bullshit. Like, that's all
Yeah.
bullshit. That was just to sell cards. Like, it doesn't mean anything. And like,
Yeah.
if you wanted to change how long a species lived, I don't know why we'll get butthurt over that.
I mean, we
If you
already
wanted-
did it with Miri Allen's. Like, who
Yeah.
really cares?
Cares, my God.
But if like even with Yoda 900 years, like they actually solidified that with Grogu.
The thing
Grogu's
is,
a
I don't think
baby.
any of these people were like, "Oh, this species lives this long. I already know that." I feel like it's something they like were looking for. They went in,
Yes.
they saw that character was there. They were like, "Let me, let me Google it," and they like were like, "Oh," So I feel like it's not something a piece of information they already had in their heart, their brain.
Yep.
It was already set. And if it was, maybe get priorities. It's not that big of a deal. Enjoy the show. Enjoy Star Wars. If you're not enjoying Star Wars, don't watch it. Move on.
I agree.
Like,
and
I
one
don't
thing
know.
too, I think is important to address about the whole point of that scene is that when they watched May fight, May was fighting out of fear that she had been trained by someone that is, and they believe it's a Jedi, a different Jedi sect.
Yeah.
None of them
A
think it's an
splinter
actual
order is what they say.
Yes.
Yeah.
None of them
Yeah,
think
no one
it's
thinks
a
it's a
Sith.
Sith.
No, because the Sith don't fight the way like Maul. When you see Maul in the Phantom Menace,
Weird.
that dude fights like a Sith. You can
Even
just
then,
hell.
like Qui-Gon clocking that he's a Sith is like a huge stretch, and he just kind of happens to be right. Like there's
Yes!
really not-
Just talks well, and then first time he mentions it, he's like he was trained in the Jedi arts, is what he says too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh God.
But it's weird because they know other Force users exist, right? They were just talking about the
Right.
witches.
Yes.
Like she was raised by witches who they know use the Force in a different way. Why would they be like, oh, it's copycat Jedi?
There's specific force foo that they use.
Like, yeah,
in
it's
the
like-
show,
Oh,
that's what it
okay,
is. It's the
yeah.
Jedi force foo.
Interesting.
I
okay.
do think though it's cool that Vernestra was so quick to jump down Soul's throat and say, "Why didn't you
Yeah.
tell us there was another?" And I love that.
And
I love that kind of beef.
Yeah.
I'm also loving the mystery of Saul's role in what happened on Brendok. So
Mhm.
obviously we all love Saul.
Man.
We think that he's probably by far the most innocent out of all of them. And so I put here in my notes.
But what if he's
First
the
of all, he said no one could have survived that in regards to May, which to me either is just a throwaway line of like, oh, he thought she didn't survive,
Yeah.
or someone saved May intentionally. If
Mhm.
Teeth had a role in what happened on Brendok, which is entirely possible. And alternatively, Saul later in the episode, I just want to say this thought before it escapes me. He's talking about when we get back to the ship, I'll tell you everything.
Yeah.
But he doesn't know everything, or at least underplays the Jedi's involvement or isn't willing to accept it, because he's still in previous episodes has said May started the fire that caused everything to go down. So clear, I think he is innocent in everything that went down, and he's only somewhat aware of what went down with the Jedi.
I don't know. I don't know if he's fully innocent. If he had if the fire was all that happened, he wouldn't have anything to explain. I don't know, Daddy Saul. I want you to be the best daddy we have, but even the best daddies make mistakes.
Even the most innocent character on this show, this is the testament to the show. Even the most innocent seeming character on the show is suspect, and that's what I love about this damn show. It's a whodunit essentially. But just on like a deeper level, Soul could be like even like anyway. I'm about to go into fucking.
For the record, I just want everyone to know that Torben is probably the least innocent out of all of them. I know some people in the chat, like Eli, are saying Indara. I say it's Torben. I don't think it really matters, but
you can't.
I think it's probably just like Indara, Kelnaka, Torben, all equal.
Look,
but
I don't like Indara's look. If I'm gonna be honest, I don't like how she addresses May. I think it's also a little weird.
The way she talks down to them was very strange too. When she goes and talks about Republic law was just very.
That was the things that was. And
notice how Kelnaka and Torben are in isolation, and Miss Indara is out there playing poker and drinking at the bar with her people.
And Soul
and being like, "Don't fight me, child."
I'm good. I'm chilling. She doesn't care.
Yeah. Look, I was going to say one thing too. If you look at it, right, and I know I was texting about this earlier with some of y'all, but we've got this idea that, Soul is what took Osha out the order, right? Soul is also the person that ended up saving Osha from the burning fire. And then obviously May falling down this deep hole, which then leads her to going back to the Bunta tree and seeing the Bunta tree. There's so much to be said about motivation there, where you've got Soul pretty much adopting Osha, and you've got, to our knowledge, May having to thrive on her own, and looking at how different those characters are because of it, and their motivations because of it. And yes, we have to say May has successfully killed, I would say, one Jedi. I know she did leave Torben into suicide, but May's turn of character, which I really wanted to get into, was such a cool beat that I'm afraid that's the red herring. I'm afraid that's not real. I'm afraid that was to get Chimere to reveal himself or something, or get the Master's attention, or Chimere contact the Master. I don't know. But I think May had that beat change way too quick. And I know you and Michael and Joe were saying it earlier, like, I think that's where she changed. I don't think she changed. Because even in the trailer, we see a shot of her trying to cut Jecky's throat in the forest at night. So I don't know.
Is it May?
That could be self-defense, though. Like, who knows?
Exactly.
I don't know.
I think it is genuine. I think May does genuinely want to, and I think, part of
someone with
there's so much to dive into with this, because I think the reason that I think her desperation to get to Kelnaka and surrender herself to Kelnaka, I think that is indicative that she was being genuine. I think.
Okay, I agree with that.
I think
he was going to do that. Then she walked in,
and he was like,
and you got to wonder, why does Teeth choose to interfere now and kill Kelnaka? Right. I think it's because he's Chimere, and Chimere knows, she's about to turn herself into him. Not
right, and and before she leaves Chimere, she's like, well, he would have to find me, but she doesn't even know I'm here. He would have to get here with a guy.
And he needs a guy.
And all of a sudden, he's already there. He's already there. He's already done it. Like,
he got there before me. Yeah.
Either he's been following them, or Chimere's teeth.
Look, that's a good point, Brian. Does that one have the ascension mark on her head? Look, I'll pull up the photo.
That's what I'm saying.
So I'm gonna get it pulled up.
Or just be like me and don't watch trailers.
I know, but sometimes it's kind of fun, Michael. We'll admit it. Here we go. It's perfectly obscured. It's like perfectly obscured, so you can't tell who it is. That's brilliant. Look, I'll show you a screenshot. It's on my dirty, smudgy phone. Look, you see it right there. Is Jackie? That's in the forest. Knife held to her throat.
May has red hair.
Like you really can't tell in that screenshot who's.
She's got
who's
the she looks like she's got the hood, but I don't know. It's
and that's the other shot they showed after. It's the blade. It's one of May's blades.
Yeah.
Also might be fighting out of.
But
fear.
she's also throwing those blades around like no one's business, so who knows?
Yeah, you never know. Anything could be happening. Because
Well, they could have shot. They could have shot stuff for the trailer, which big shows do all the time.
Mhm.
They shoot it for the trailer.
True.
But you look. So obviously, we're all still up in the air in terms of motivation. What's going on? One thing I do want to touch on in the Force. Whenever Osha is slowly coming back into the Force, right?
Yes.
Where
I took notes of that this time.
Okay, Rolo, tell us what you write down. What you write down? I want to hear it.
I mentioned that in my notes that Osha in that first episode isn't able to call upon the Force to bring something to her. Now, granted, being able to call upon the Force for telekinesis is different than just sensing the Force, but we haven't really had many instances of her being able to sense things.
Yeah.
She says she was able to sense that creature.
Yeah.
And she's obviously able to sense, teeth. I think that's what her fear is her sensing his presence and his darkness. And so the fact that is coming back to her, being around the Jedi and being more attuned to the Force, I think she's getting back into her old Jedi self, and we'll see even more of that.
Do you think we'll see an awakening, kind of like we do at Rey? Do you think we're gonna get like
100%.
during the big battle, just like a reach out?
And in fact, it may be either against May or alongside her.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, that's cool as shit. Yeah,
Yeah.
But I love how
Sorry.
I guess Star Wars. It's okay, Joe. You're so cute. I love how much that felt like. I don't know. I don't mean to bring it up, but that felt like the wellspring of life moment where Soul is really quick to kill innocent creature that is attracted to the light. Right? There's something to be said about that phrasing. Oh, it's attracted to the light. You're kind of like you're attracted to the light, and this guy goes about killing you. That can be very metaphorical, but also can be very straightforward, like a moth flame. But what I was trying to get at is Osha was so willing to, she woke up the animal, she disturbed it. It flies to Soul. Soul is so quick to kill the animal. When I really think that Soul could have been like, let me just force, mind trick it.
Yeah.
Not worry
That's what you
about
think
it.
that a High Republic Jedi would do, by the way, is that it was very by the way, those things in the closed captions, I believe, are called Umbra moths.
Yeah.
Umbra
as well.
moth.
Umbra
Which is
moths.
cool.
So
Let's
so
look
they
that
do have the
down,
moth
too.
to the flame. It is a full
Yeah.
it's exactly what they were going for. So
Umbra, I'm pretty sure that means under. What does Umbra mean? Under is a
Umbra moth.
fully shaded. Oh yeah, fully shaded a region of a shadow.
And
cast
they're
by
in
object.
that
Umbra.
part of the Force that they say is like darkened or corrupted, whatever they say it is.
Dork
Yeah.
sad and
And part of me is wondering if that's because Kel Naka is close by, if he is experimenting with that darkness that the witches were, if maybe he's responsible for some of the corruption there.
Oh,
that is
shit,
like
that's cool.
incredible, like far-reaching theory. I don't think that's actually
Sure.
true.
Well, he
but-
stopped responding to the Jedi for a year. He could have gotten deep into that dark side shit.
Mhm.
Oh wow, I do like that Jeki is so like though Jeki has not experienced death. It's so like controversial. So yeah, you've had people die. It's pretty beautiful, and it's like, well, and look, I'm gonna be very blunt here. I've seen both my grandfathers like actually die before my eyes. Like I was there for both on their deathbeds. Like I had the opportunity and the privilege to see their last breaths because it was a beautiful thing. But it's also really hard on you. And Jeki sees it more as a privilege and like, oh, you got to see someone turn back into the Force, which I firmly believe in my real life, like biological belief, that does happen. Like someone does turn back and their spirit does leave them and they have a soul. But like, I hate how Jeki's like, that's pretty cool. Whereas like what Osha experienced was fucking horrible.
It's
like
it's
everyone
something.
you died. Like
It's something that does very much remind me of my time in Christian schools and whatnot. I'm
Yeah.
sure Jerry can relate to this, where it's like you rejoice
Oh,
for
yes.
those who no longer suffer in this world and instead move on to something greater.
they're in a better
and
place, blah,
also-
blah, blah, farm upstate and all that. Yeah.
Reminiscent of Yoda's conversation in Revenge of the Sith with Anakin when he's counseling him.
Yeah.
You know, mourn them, do not miss them, do not rejoice for those who transform into the Force.
That's very Christian doctrine.
Mhm.
It's,
And it's I think there is something beautiful about it, but I think there's also a tendency for a lot of the Jedi to use that as like a coping mechanism without like actually emotionally processing what death is.
Yes.
And I think that's kind of it. It's one of the few like immaturities on Jekkie's parts, because Jekkie is an incredibly wise Jedi for her age. You know, she really does remind me a lot of Vernestra in the High Republic novels, you know, being so young and yet so like aware and so wise beyond her years. And I think that is one mark of immaturity in spite of being firmly rooted in Jedi doctrine.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's brutal though. It's like, and I know, Michael, we could talk personal stuff on here. I know I've experienced a lot of death. I know you have too. And like, it's something that's very intense. And when you're growing up and someone you know and you're very close to passes away, like it does make you question mortality, even from a very young age. And like Jekkie being like, I would say Jekkie probably is somewhere between the ages of like 17 and 20, maybe. That's the vibe.
I would say like between 16 and 19, something like that.
Yeah, something like, you know what I mean? It's like, there's a little bit of a discrepancy, but like that, just enough to like not fully grasp like what it means to die or to have something die. And I don't know about all of y'all, but like I'm very much like, if I see a bug, I don't even kill it. I'll just remove it somewhere else. I'll just put it outside. You know, like even if it's something that's kind of, you know, gross, I don't want to pick up, I'll still do it. Like the fact that Soul is just like chop, slice that dude in half, and Jekkie's like, well, you got to see it die, and I'm like, that's kind of fucked up. Like that, that's a little brutal. You know,
with Saul, that could just be his defensive dad nature, because he is so protective of Osha in particular, and we've seen his potential attachment with, you know, him reminiscing with old Hollows, and Jekkie even calling him on it.
Good point. God bless, this show is so layered. I don't know how anyone watches this and thinks this is bad.
It's almost like they're watching it in bad faith or something.
It's like I had a friend of mine reach out to me and told me they didn't like it today, and I want to respect their opinion. I'm gonna do my best to when we talk on the phone later. But like, I'm just like, fuck, this is so good. Like it's everything about this to me is like Jedi. Everything about this to me, and it's so George.
Yeah, it's so Star Wars. It really is honestly, so Star Wars.
This is more George than, I mean, no, Mando's pretty. Everything's George. Oh God, I'm about to lose my patience.
It's definitely George has his finger in all these pies. Okay, that's what. It's all there. It's all there.
It's very real, but you know, we've been going on for about an hour. I think we need to discuss, of course, our everyone's collective favorite moment. I think when they filmed this. Oh, sorry,
before we get to that, there's one more thing I wanted to discuss, which is a major element of this episode that we haven't talked about yet. And it's actually a major element of this whole series, too. It's May's mandate that she has to kill a Jedi without a weapon. And this is something I took a lot of notes on, because Kymir talks about it a lot. You know, he's making the jokes of like, you know, so if you like start unarmed and then you take a weapon, does that count? Like, because to me, me personally was in the headspace of like, is the poison not counting as killing him without a weapon? Because
that's what I assume.
And I think it's very much intentionally vague on the part of the master. And what May says she was told is the final lesson is one you teach yourself, which I think is indicative that it is an intentionally vague command that is very open-ended, and we may not even get a definitive answer to. It could mean that you have to kill a Jedi, you know, metaphorically through their like compassion, which is, you know, how she kills Indara, by Indara going to save that bartender instead of protecting herself. It could be encouraging stealth, and if the Sith are meant to, you know, continue their secretive nature. There's so many ways to take it. I
feel like he might be meaning not to genuinely kill the Jedi, but to lead the Jedi away from being a Jedi, to not believing in the Jedi anymore, or whatever. That's like how you kill the Jedi,
kind of
using a weapon.
Kind of like the Joker in The Dark Knight, you know, wants to prove that they're just as bad as they think they are. Kind of,
or is it straight up just using the Force to kill a Jedi? Using their own, you know, their holy weapon against them, so to speak, you know?
God, I'm glad you brought that up, because a lot of that, like, to me, there is, of course, the Jedi trials and what they go through, and of course, Obi-Wan's being the fight against Darth Maul, and like the Sith must have their own version of it, and now this is it. We get an instruction of you must kill a Jedi without a weapon, and I mean, for all they know, and we can look at it too about how they framed this and why is this set up the way it is. But like when she goes in the hut and Kalnaka's already dead, like that's instantly going to make the Jedi question if it was May or if it was that creature that's going to show up in 10 seconds. I don't know. I wouldn't even know how. I know at that point May has turned and says, I'm not gonna kill Kalnaka, Master Kalnaka, and comes in the room and he's already dead. I just wonder how. I don't know. I don't think she's turned. I want to be. I
think she's tried to. I don't think the Jedi will let her. I think they will still be after her, and that will force her to sort of remain on the side that she is. And I think that was intentional with Teeth killing Kalnaka. It's you can't turn to them. I won't let you. You're stuck under my thumb. Fall in line, because she's very fearful. When she says to Chimera is he'll kill me if I don't do what he says. It's not like I'm loyal to this cause. No, he rules through fear.
God bless. That's true though, Brian. I agree. May doesn't have a lightsaber, right? And that wound was a slap, but she could have maybe grabbed Kalnaka's saber, and I don't there's ways they could work around it. And I want to say this too. For those that don't know, people get screeners of these things. We're not lucky enough for some reason, but we don't get screeners or invites to anything. Just throwing some shade. But the reason I say that is because episode 5, 6, 7, and 8, no one has seen yet. This is where I think the twists and turns are going to truly take place. The things that would have gotten leaked if they had been screeners, And I know some of these things did get leaked because of screeners, which I think they should stop doing for a show that's about a mystery. That's just me. But can we talk about the final part? Can we look at the final part?
Yes.
Please.
I'll allow it.
My God. The intensity of May being behind the door looking through, right? The slice happens. The sun is setting. All the Jedi run up. Under what is the exact line? I don't know. One of the Jedi. It's not Yord. It's not. It's some random Jedi. What is the line he says? It's like
he was just saying like, come out with your hands where we can see them. And then Yord says that means you, May.
Yeah, Yord's like it's not whoever. It's May Anasea in there.
Yeah.
He's such a dick.
I love him. He's so great,
man. But look, that moment happens, and Yord's very like, stay behind. We can't have you be in the front. Who was that a mistake?
And May
Skull tells her too, doesn't he?
May is the first one to say he's here.
Yeah.
She realizes it before all the Jedi do.
That scene was straight out of Insidious.
Yes,
like seeing him out of focus, float down behind her. Horrific, sickening.
Yeah, that was fucking terrifying.
Horrific.
Is that the first floating Sith? Like really ever? I'm trying to think. Have we ever?
Dooku does it in the 2D Clone Wars.
Yeah,
but the fact that it's like out of focus, out of frame, behind her
in shadow.
I was in 2014. Yeah. Oh, it's the horror influences on this are just so good. I mean, from that conversation between Osha and young May at the beginning, that's very much like The Shining. You nailed it, Joe, with Insidious. Like honestly, it's that unsettling imagery of there is something you can see, but the characters can't see, and
the mask. From the side is so terrifying. Like people have said it's goofy from the front. I disagree. I think it looks great, but it looks even better from the side.
God bless. So that moment, and they're face to face.
And when he ignites the saber, I thought he impaled her.
Same. I also thought it was just like straight I was like, oh.
Well, honestly, and I know there's gonna be more story to that. But how great would it have been to set up a threat by killing Osha? That I mean, it's
I
obviously.
think it
I
would've
thought
been
that's what
It
I
would've been
thought
bad.
that's what happened at first.
I've been that's been like, holy shit! This
When
is
the
a bad-
lightsaber ignited, I thought it was gonna pull out, and it was like
Oh,
through her. Like, he
the
ran her through.
guts!
Yeah, same.
Yeah,
Jesus.
they ran her through.
Yeah. So,
And Teeth, let's take a moment and talk about, obviously it's cool. He stops and he looks at OSHA for a minute. He may not have known.
Yeah.
Well, if
might
he's
like
Chimera, then he knew. But
Yeah.
if they're not Chimera, then that's his first like seeing OSHA and being like, "Oh, this is interesting."
Mm.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
what do you think of the Jackie line? What is?
Yeah, what is that? That was
What is that?
Holy shit!
Because
That was
she has no
great.
reference for the Sith,
It-
probably. Like,
and-
No.
Yeah, hardly any of them do. None of them do.
And
Hardly.
when you're able to feel that dark presence in the Force, it's reminiscent of like the season 2 opener of Rebels
yeah.
when Ezra's like, "What is
Feels
that
so cold.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yeah.
Vader?"
I love horror in Star Wars. It's so good, but it gets a little creepy. It's so good.
Mhm.
But so wait,
It's
one
so
thing we
good.
Ugh.
One thing we didn't bring up is when Soul looks at that one tree and has like a huge, like dark side, like
To me,
yeah.
I think that's him feeling Kelnaka dying in the Force because
oh, okay,
that was my thought.
yeah.
But we'll see.
Oh Jesus,
It might be. Can we talk about just the casual way that he tosses OSHA
oh, of
to the side?
course, yes.
How
Snoke-esque.
insane was? Yeah, it's just like it just was so little effort that it was
Mhm.
like, Jesus Christ, this is insane. In the way that like just again one hand and that entire like gale force gust that pushes all
Oh
the
my
Jedi back
God.
was it just man, I don't know. Like I'm surprised people aren't complaining about the power fantasy thing like they were with Rey. If it turns out to be a woman, they probably will
They
complain.
will, yeah.
Oh,
But,
of course
Once
they
they
will.
find out it's a woman, yeah, they'll be mad.
Yeah.
Yeah, once they find out it's a woman, but
Can't
like
wait.
just like oh god, just everything was so perfect. Just but like I can't get the just
It was
toss her
so
aside
good.
out of my head.
It was so good.
For a little bit of speculation to where the next episode's going to pick up, assuming we don't do another flashback and we continue.
Oh please! I said this to you guys.
No.
If it's a flashback episode, I'm gonna kill myself. I'm gonna kill myself. If next week's
I'm
a
gonna throw
flashback
myself
episode,
off my apartment building. Yeah.
It's done. I'm never gonna see
But
another
no.
episode because it's over for me. All it
Is the next episode going to pick up with a fight? Is the next episode going to pick up with Osho waking up and finding half those Jedi dead?
It's gonna be a fight. It's gotta be a fight. It's
Or
gotta be.
is it going to be an almost horror-esque episode where they are being hunted
Please.
through the woods?
Please
Look,
do
by
it.
look at
that
Woodsy here.
serious
Woodsy
God.
here saying it's very Michael Myers.
Yes.
It is very, yeah. I would love that shit. Holy
Ugh.
crap, man.
Oh.
Yeah.
Give
me
no
a
matter what way
slasher
they
in
go
Star
with it,
Wars.
I'm so excited.
God,
Me
and
too.
what the thing is too, when you look at it and you really reflect on it, the fact that they knocked back, how many was it? 8 Jedi, 9 Jedi, just launched them back. That was the craziest thing I've ever seen. It was
really
like
good.
poof, and then like dust, and it was like kind of red looking, and it just launched all of them back. Oh God,
It
I don't know,
looks so good too.
I
just
know.
looks so
That's
good.
what I sounded like on the couch when that was happening. Like, why is it going? Good thing going.
but like
I yelled "fuck" at my TV when it cut to credits.
Same.
I screamed no.
Jesus.
I was so upset.
I looked at Kay, I'm like, whoa, they just did that. A lot of this show really, for me, and which I love, is the whoa, they just did that. Like when they dropped
Yeah.
the whole, not immaculate conception, the whole like we formed her in the womb. Like
I
whoa,
created.
they
them.
just did, they just did that. Like I love that this show is having the opportunities to do that because yes, it was really cool when Luke showed up in Mando season 2 and in Book of Boba Fett. It was really cool that Boba Fett showed up. Those are all awesome. This show has done a few things in story that have not relied on previous, understandings of things. And I still go, oh, they just did that. Like the fact that it on a cliffhanger. I mean, and look, I don't mean to get excited, but my birthday is next Tuesday when the next episode airs. So I'm like, this is the perfect birthday. I know I'm going to get a great episode. I know I am. Like, I just know I am for my birthday. And Do I would I want Michael Myers? Of course. That'd be the coolest thing in the world. Would I want them to wake up and everyone's massacred? Or do I want like a Red Wedding situation where like a bunch of main characters die and we just have to roll with it? I would love that because that's how you change things up. You just kill off yours.
So
that'd be amazing.
So I think in terms of our characters, Jackie is safe. I think Yord is safe because he's got the most room to grow. Where are we at with Saul? Is he safe?
God. He's safe because he
just said, I'll tell you everything when we get back to the ship. That's classic. I'm about to die.
The main ocean could run off, be like, hey, we need to go investigate what happened to our witch coven and see if they're still there. I don't know.
I don't know.
I agree with what Half-Moth said in the chat. The extra Jedi in the party of the red shirts. Absolutely. Not a single one of them is making it out. They were there
when they
die.
When they landed on that planet, I was like, oh, it's Star Trek.
Yeah.
Look at these
yeah,
red shirts.
exactly.
Like, truly.
You never go to the planet.
Guys, they're dead. Oh,
how are the Jedi going to walk back that they died? That's my struggle with the killing them all. How are they gonna walk it back?
They died on mission. Kelnaka's killer killed them. Yeah. May killed them. There's so many ways that they can do.
They're not gonna if no one is alive to say it was some dude someone all clad in black with a crazy ass helmet with a red bled lightsaber like the Sith used to have. They're not gonna know. They're just gonna be like, it's that Jedi, whatever, that rogue Jedi that we thought.
And if we already know one thing about the Jedi in this show, it's that they love covering stuff up.
They are. The High Republic is all about like not telling anyone shit.
Yeah.
Okay, but
that's
what happens?
All it is.
What happens when all these Jedi bodies have no teeth?
That's the thing. I was gonna say, oh man, if it's serial killer,
well then they can't identify their bodies. No dental records.
Now the question is, are they going to go out like the several council members that were with Mace when they went to confront the Emperor, or are they going to like actually like last a little longer?
I hope they last a little longer.
I think.
I hope the choreography
I hope they go a little
better.
I think so too.
I love this show. This is the first Star Wars show where like it's so open every episode.
I think the speculation in this one is so much more warranted than it's been in other shows. Because like a lot of times I feel like I'm very cynical and dismissive of people's speculations where I'm like, just shut the fuck up and let the show play out.
Michael,
but this show is so like encouraging of it, you know?
Yes, I was gonna say this is the first prequel where we don't know the fate of any of these people. We know the outcome of it. We know that in some capacity the Sith do infiltrate and come back. But this is besides like, and really there's no other show. Like I watched Andor, I wasn't on bated breath because I saw him die in Rogue One. And it's still a great show, but I wasn't like, what's going to happen to Cassian? Like, I know he's going to get out the prison cell. I know he's going to find a way off his home planet. You know what I mean? Like, I know those are all going to happen. Same when you watch, any of the prequels or any of the Clone Wars or even Rebels. Like, you kind of can, figure out who said what, when, where, and how it's going to fall. But this show is like the first time you're watching Star Wars besides the sequel trilogy or maybe Mando. You're like, oh shit, like what is going to happen with these characters? Because you just can't call it. You can't call it. And I love that this show provides us with commentary for fans like us. And of course, the negative commentary, which we addressed at the top of the show, has been completely unwarranted. But this is the kind of stuff this show is meant to do. These conversations. We've been talking for an hour and 15 minutes just about the mystery aspect of the show, and it's awesome.
We've been talking about the shortest episode of this series thus far. Like it's so
48
short.
minutes. It's super short. You skip that recap, you skip that title card intro, you get the 5 minutes of international credits at the end. This episode really was like actually 28 minutes. It's like so short. And Kate and I were watching it. We're like, oh, okay, just ended very abruptly. But I like it. When it's done well, I like it.
100%.
Yes.
God. I love that we could all talk about this together. This is the best. This is the best.
I love the show and I love all of you.
I love you guys so much. When Kiati Mundi says they haven't seen Sith in a millennia, maybe it's just because the Sith cover up all the events of the Acolyte.
Or the Jedi do, because he's not on the ground.
That's what I meant.
How could
Jedi
they do
cover
that?
it all up. Because they're covering up everything in this series.
And they
Yeah, I
also
know.
don't know
that
it's
didn't
Sid
happen.
because
This ain't happening. There was no second twin. What do you mean?
They think it might be a splinter order. They don't know
Right.
it's the fucking Sith.
Yadimundi might be in the dark in the prequel series.
He
Let's
might
be
be
honest.
high out of his mind.
Kiadi Mundi
Minds.
is out of the loop on he's out of the loop on
Yes.
fucking life. Okay.
Yeah.
Like that dude does not have it together.
No.
And he likes flavorless ice, that fuck.
No, it's not. Ice is a flavor. Ice is a flavor according
What?
to him. So
It's in Living Force.
it's in the Living Force book. He orders a snow cone and wants the ice flavor.
He just
I
wants
haven't-
no flavoring.
I haven't finished that book
He's
yet.
he's basic as fuck. So
Oh, anyway.
With two
I don't-
brains, he doesn't have a sense of taste.
Yeah. You need 2 tongues for that shit.
Weird.
I ripped off my Padawan braid. Yeah, no, balls to the wall next week, y'all. I'm very, very excited for that. I really
excited.
genuinely am.
And
that, yeah.
I just want to address something Buck just said. I'm also loving Jackie crushing on Osha. I also love that it's a
Yes.
difference in the dynamic of the 2 apprentices who had the same master thing that I've talked about ad nauseum because I love it. Because we've only gotten like 2 examples of it. We've gotten Qui-Gon and Rail, and we've gotten Reith Silas and Des Ryden. And now we've got Jackie and Osha, which is a very different dynamic because there is a potential romance there. It's not just a strictly like older, younger sibling kind of relationship. So I'm into it. I think it's really refreshing. I can't wait to see where it goes.
Oh,
Hell
I
yeah.
love y'all.
hold on. Listen, I want to go ahead and make one thing very clear. I am not defending Kiadi Mundi. I was just quoting his damn ass. Okay.
Jared the Dark Jedi
No,
would.
never
Eric the Dark Jedi
never
would.
tell me that I'm defending Kiadi Mundi. I will come to your house. I will break down your door. I will drag you outside. Anyway, here we go.
Penetrate you anally. Anyway,
Yeah, that's exactly what'll happen. Yeah.
With consent, of course.
And then I'll like hovering over your face. I'll say, "What about the droid attack on the Wookiees?"
and then below his load in your mouth.
He's a
Anyway,
political idealist, not a murderer.
Not a murderer.
Anyway, I do love you all. Michael, can you give us some pluggy wuggies real quick?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Get your YouTube pulled up, okay? Hold on.
I also just wanted to say thank you for giving me the chance to come on your show and gush about my current favorite show and all of this. I haven't had a chance to really talk about it on anyone's stuff yet, so I've relished this opportunity to just gush over it. You can find me on Twitter at Local First Order. You can find me on YouTube, All Remaining Systems. I do a Star Wars role-playing game series starring Jerry, Alden, Jared, and Dan from Braxium called Ionized Bastards. We
Got it pulled up right here, buddy.
are nearing the end of season 2. It is absolutely incredible. I am so proud of what I've done with this series and what all my players have brought to the table. I highly recommend it. You can start with the second season. Just start watching when the thumbnails become blue and you'll be just fine. You can also find my Star Wars fan fiction there. I've got a whole series called Heart of the Jedi you can find in that little playlist.
I heard it for a second.
I've got Heart of the Jedi is a series of 5 short stories that lead into one sort of overarching story called The Elegy of Malevolence. I'm very excited to get back to writing that shortly. You can also read them through my Archive of Our Own page. You can find through my Twitter, and I think that's about all I've got to plug.
That's fantastic. Yeah, go listen to Michael's short stories. He's actually contributed a good bit. To,
And there's a High Republic one called The Hand of Demise, which I debuted on this
Yep.
show a couple of years ago. So
That's
check
right.
that out.
God bless. Yeah, no, I love Michael. Michael's been a friend and a fan for the past 5 years, which is a long time. I don't know if y'all ever thought about that. 5 years of someone's life. I mean, like, I'm 29. That's like seriously like 1/6 of my life. You know what I mean? Like, I've been friends with Michael McCoy.
Majority of my child's life. Actually.
was
Yeah,
21.
literally. It's amazing. But no, Michael, glad you were here. Joe, we got to hear about you. What you got going on, beautiful?
Joey.
I have nothing going on, you
Oh,
guys.
shut up. Yes, you do.
Yes,
No,
you
I have
do.
everything going on. Like Joe Organa, the brand, is truly blowing up. Like everything's going. Oh my! There's my merch, you guys. If you like
Here you
dumb
go.
little clothes, if you want to look like a slut but in like a fun, cheeky sort of way,
Oh,
make
I
sure
did not know
buy.
you made button downs.
I do have a
Oh,
button-down.
my
Oh.
God.
If you
Oh,
love
I
me,
love that.
If you love me or you just love jerking off, a lot of my merch is for you. There's the Speedo. I'm gonna be wearing that Speedo, and I'm gonna be doing a crop top tutorial on my Twitch channel.
Shut
Follow
up.
me. Yes,
dude.
I'll wear the Speedo here
There
as
you go.
well whenever I get it in the mail. So I have
Team
a lot of
Jorgana.
merch. Yeah, Team Jorgana. I hate Jorgana. I love Jorgana.
That's what I'm buying. The I hate Jorgana.
I bought the
tomorrow
I hate
morning.
Jorgana. There's a whiskey tea. The whiskey tea. I bought. There's a slut tea. It's a slut in theory.
Love
It's only
this.
in theory. Yeah, I
will
got
be
the.
buying this tomorrow.
I'm gonna be wearing the I hate Jorgana tea a lot out in my
I
real life.
hate Jorgana. Oh my god!
It's the look of the summer. It's the look of the summer.
Hot
What's
Joe
his
Summer.
jacket there?
Oh, the jacket.
Is it a bomber jacket?
You're
It's a
jacking
bomber
it?
jacket.
What?
There's a bomber jacket. He is
Jacket, I'm
jacking it,
cranking it.
as you
Nice,
should.
dude.
Oh, Joe.
That's-
$75 is not bad.
It's a bomber jacket. It has my cat scratch logo, and it also says I love Jorgana and I hate Jorgana.
I hate Jorgana.
So
The
either way,
duality of man.
So you go like this.
no
You
matter
show
how
off
you
the
feel
gun.
about me, it's perfect for you. A lot of people hate me. A lot of people love me. So there's something for everyone.
Hate Jorgana.
I hate Jorgana.
I'm gonna wear this at work.
Please do.
My Catholic school. They're gonna Google. They're gonna watch this. They're gonna do. Watch. I'm gonna show you. They're gonna look up Jorgana,
Don't
and
do
they're
that.
gonna they're gonna go under images, and they'll be like, "What in the world, Mr. Jara? Who's Jorgana?"
Not the picture of Gina Carano. Oh, don't read that article. They hate
No,
me.
I
That was.
won't, I won't.
They were very upset with me in that article.
They were also complaining
Yeah,
about
fuck that
pronouns
guy.
in this episode. So
They don't like me. That podcast.
Oh, man.
Please. Oh my god! Don't look at those pictures. Oh my god.
let's look at Joe
What
Organa
is that
pictures for
photo?
an hour.
That's from 20. I gotta go through some of those and delete those tweets. My god, the things that show up on me. I gotta delete that.
No, the
I love you,
Jorgana
Joe.
merch, the
I love you,
Jorgana
yeah.
is a must buy. I'm gonna be buying
Yes.
mine tomorrow. Again, Joe. How do I get in contact with Drag Queen merch? Because
I can give you their contact.
Oh my
They're
god!
an amazing company. They're incredible. They work with a lot of queer content creators.
What if
And-
we were two
Yeah.
cis hetero males? Would they be like, sure, we'll give you a pass?
Well, if I think if listen, I'm gonna say that we made out one time, so it'll count. It'll be fine.
all three of us made out. It was
Yeah, yeah.
awesome, beautiful.
And I would
No,
do it
but
again.
I know it was amazing. Anyway,
In a heartbeat.
I love you both so much. Thank you both for joining us. If I could plug anything,
Yes.
obviously, Michael already plugged it earlier. Jerry's on Ionized Bastards. I was also
Yeah,
on 2 episodes.
It's all covered.
Go join it. If you haven't yet, watch my midichlorians video essay. It's gotten a couple more views since I had a pretty successful tweet where I said "fuck Kiati Mundi." I said, who gives a fuck about Kiati Mundi? Watch my midichlorian video essay. But no, watch that. It means the world to me. Next Tuesday's my birthday. Send me some money. No, just kidding. You could maybe. But anyway, Michael, you get the honor. 5 years to the date of Bombadcast launching. You get the privilege. What should everyone?
Oh.
Stay bombad.
Yeah, boy.
Aw.
Love you, Mikey.
Did you say impossible? Pasquale? Only kidding, Jackie. I've changed my tune because I finally thought of a possible dream that we can all share. What is it?
Pasquale?
It's a dream about a world when nobody is poor or sick or hungry.
Oh, now that's a dream we can make come true.
I'm gonna make a change for once in my life. It's gonna feel real good. Gonna make a difference. Gonna make it right.
As I point up the collar on my favorite winter coat, this wind is blowing my mind.
I see the kids in the street with not enough to eat. Who am I to be blind, pretending not to see their need? A sour's disregard, a broken bottle top.
And a one-man soul. They follow each other on the
forced to take a break, but we wouldn't dream of being gone for long. See you in a little bit.